ambitious, hardworking, business-minded, like, and then he would just help you out in any situation, you know, if he would see a job that might interest you or help you with your business, like, he was that problem solver. But beyond that, he was very romantic. You know, for my birthday in October of that same year, he like decorated a whole hotel room with like rose petals, candles, pictures of us. Like, I was shocked because I had never experienced that. And so that's who he was, you know? And I think a part of that, that is true, right? Like, he is that, but yeah, after knowing what I know now, it's just like, that doesn't make up for the other stuff, you know?
Right. It definitely doesn't make up for the other stuff. Like, did you ever get a chance to meet his family?
Yeah, so I've met a couple of his brothers. His little brother that lives in Austin, I've met him several times. All his friends, extended family even in the UK. When we were there, when I found out about all this, it was, yeah. So, but I know everyone's wondering, like, did you meet his mom?
Yeah.
I've only, like, spoken on the phone with her, like, with him when we were dating, because she lived in Chicago, so, and we weren't, like, that serious yet, so, like, I didn't even introduce him to my family, so it was like that.
Okay. And so, did you know about the show at all? Like, did you know? So, you guys broke up early 2020, remained friends, and when you say remained friends, like, you guys still hung out, you guys still talked, you guys still text, and still were intimate, or like just you guys like we've all been there with the next, right? Where we still like dibble and dabble a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I will say, you know, we would hang out, we'd go, like, if, you know, one of us got a new job, we'd go celebrate. And yeah, we did have moments of like, we might get back together and it was more romantic. Then we had times where it was not as romantic. So yeah, it was just kind of a murky time, but still in contact.
Okay, still in contact. So you had no idea about the show. Like, you did not know he was going on a reality show to be married.
No. So let me speak on that because I told people I would address it. Okay. So this one time I was like texting him and he didn't like respond. It was like days went by. He didn't respond. He didn't call, which was very weird for him, even though he's busy. And so I was getting worried as his friend, like, what is going on?
Right.
So I contacted our mutual friend. I was like, hey, have you talked to SK? Is he all right? Like, I'm just worried. And he was like, he's gone for a few weeks, but he'll tell you everything when he gets back.
Okay.
And I was like, what does that mean? You know, I'm like, is he handling some business in Nigeria? Like, I had no clue. So, but then I remembered, this was like early 2021, either late 2020 or early 2021. He had messaged me on Instagram and sent me the flyer for the audition to Love is Blind. And he said, should I do this? LOL. And I thought it was a joke. I was like, why would you go on a reality show? Like, I was like, you're playing with me. But I said, LOL, sure. Because we weren't together. And I was like, this isn't even going to be a thing. Right. Well, that obviously is not true now. But yeah, so that happened. And then when I reached out to the friend, I remembered that he sent me that. And I was like, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, so.
So he kind of hinted like he might go on the show, but never actually confirmed like, hey, I'm about to do this, or hey, I got casted.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so when did you find out that he was on the show, that he had actually gone on this reality show where he was like supposed to be married?
Yeah, so fast forward to late July, early August, he asked me to go to Ibiza. And, you know, we are friends, we love traveling together, and like, I felt really comfortable with him. So I was like, it's not abnormal that I would just get up and go on a week's notice. So we fly to Spain. You know, the first couple nights are great. Like, we're just having the best time reconnecting. You know, like, we exchanged I love yous at this point because we were like, you know, we were talking about.
I love you first.
He did.
Who said I love you first?
We were on the beach. He said it.
Oh, any visa?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. Um, so yeah, then we fly back to Madrid because we kind of hopped around Spain. And then one day I was like, hey, can I send the pictures to myself from your phone that we took? And he was like, here, sure. And he gets in the shower. I kind of forgot a part that about to mention, but yeah, so he gets in the shower and I have the phone and something in me tells me to like go to his messages. And the only reason that I felt like this is because before we took off to leave for Spain, I saw a name pop up on his phone that looked like a fiance, but I was like, there's no way. Like,
Right.
it's something else. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So like, I'm tripping, but I just feel like the universe and God, they always reveal things to you for a reason. So anyways, my intuition in Spain was like, okay, check the messages, something's up. And so I saw on his like pinned messages is a fiance. And it's like hidden so he can't get her notifications. And I'm like shocked. Like, it's just like I went ghost. I mean, yeah, like it was crazy. So then I'm going through the messages and I'm like, what is this? Who is this girl? And I see like pictures of them together with like other people. So like that could have been like the castmates,
Yeah.
I saw something about a Cash App, something about a hotel key. So it was like, something's up here.
Right.
So I don't address it right away. We go to lunch. I'm acting very weird because I can't hide anything. But he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, like it's fine.
Totally.
I know. And then we go to dinner that night and I just could not like hide it. I was like acting so just off. And so he was like, just tell me what's up. So I tell him what I find. And I was like, what the hell, And he was like, I can explain. And he tells me that, he did this Netflix show on Love, for Love is Blind, and that it's all for, money and just to advance them and whatever. And it's not real. They're just friends. She's not my type. And her name is Raven. And so he gave me like the baseline details, but I still had questions.
Right.
But then he flips the conversation to talking about our future. And so then I kind of just like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I said, but if you are telling the truth, then I need to meet her when we go home, when we get back to Dallas. And he was like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So even though you guys are not officially together, you guys are still sharing I love yous, and you guys are still very much talking about a future together.
Yeah.
And getting back together.
Yeah.
Okay. So all he told you about the show was basically, I went, it's fake, it's not real, it's for clouds, for money.
Yeah.
But at this point, you've already seen exchanges between him and fiance and pictures with them and other people.
Yeah.
So, but you took his word for it that it was fake.
Yes, because up until this point, he has done nothing but been an angel in my eyes. And so it's like that charm he has and all the things that he would do for me, it kind of like, I was like, no, he wouldn't really do, he would not do that to me.
Right.
I still had questions, but I was like, okay, I'm going to put this behind me for the sake of the rest of the trip. I'm just going to enjoy the trip and we'll deal with this when we get home. So.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, he fooled us all. So, I mean, I thought he was charming. Like when the show first started, I was like, yuck. And then I was like, ooh, like, I like him. He's sweet. He seems like very genuine. And I think that's why all of us here are like legitimately shocked, because it's the last person we would expect any of this from. Yeah. So I can only imagine you not expecting this from him. Okay. So we're in Europe. You drop the whole fiance debate because you're like, okay, you take his word for it and you guys enjoy the rest of your trip. Fill in the gap from there.
Okay, so we, another thing that happened on the trip though, so the next day, me being the nosy girl that I am, like all of us would be, I'd go to find her Instagram, right?
Of course.
And
Duh.
I'm like, okay, well, if this is fake, she'll have no issues knowing who I am anyway. So I start liking some pictures, and I'm like, she's a Dallas girl, I'm a Dallas girl, like, hey girl, hey, right?
Hey girl, hey friend.
So then we're waiting on an Uber, and I glance over to my right, and then I see a notification on his phone from her on Instagram saying, who is this, with my profile. And I was like, and he turns to me and he goes, I told you I was gonna handle it, like, you look crazy doing this. I was like, what's the big deal if she's gonna find out about me? But I was like, that's a little weird, but I was like, okay, I'm trusting him. I'm gonna let him handle it how he wants to. This is a weird situation, but like, okay, whatever.
Right. So what I think is important to note here is that for timestamps for people, because I think that was like the major thing that people wanted to know were timestamps. And this Europe trip, your receipts had timestamps, you know what I mean? So it was in July of 2021, which would be about a month after these weddings were filmed. So that just for people watching, like timestamp, you are on this trip and you are witnessing communication from Raven and SK. Like, to me, I'm like, why would you be questioning who I am and my profile if this is fake or nothing's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? So you say, if this is fake, cool. I'm cool with it. I'm not going to mess up your bag. Like, but I want to meet the girl.
Exactly. That's all I wanted, you know, and never happened. So
it never happened. You guys go back to Dallas and like, what happened?
So when we get home, he was, we just both got really busy, and I was kind of just mad at him because I was like, I need to take a step back from him and really figure out what is this about and, you know, do my own thing. So we didn't talk really from August till October. Then we texted, and then we texted again in like December, just catching up. I went to San Jose in December. He lives in San Fran, so we were gonna try to meet up, but our schedules were just crazy. So yeah, and then I didn't talk to him again till like spring of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of dropped the whole let me meet Raven once you guys got back to Dallas because he was taking off to school and there really was no point. Okay, so I know that this was like a big thing that people wanted to know because I think on the show he mentioned that he comes from a polyamorous background. He comes from a polyamorous family. His father has multiple wives. Is that ever something he discussed with you? Like that it was something he was into or maybe wanted to do, because it sure is seeming like it, you know?
The only time, I mean, he did mention about like his dad and how he was. He didn't mention himself wanting to date multiple women. Okay. The only thing that kind of like made a light bulb go off for me with this whole poly thing is that in Europe, like the last night, he said to me that he would not get married until he could be 100% faithful to one woman. So like if that says anything, I don't know, but yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So you guys stopped talking because you needed a break from him because he was like a little shysty on the trip and weird. You knew something was going on, but you didn't really know what. So you take a break for him for 1 year, right?
Almost, yeah. Not a full year, but yeah.
And then so the invitation to Cabo, was that just like a random, like, hey, like, let's go to Cabo? That had been the first time you had spoken to him in a while.
Yeah. Because we texted a little bit prior to this, but it was pretty friendly. And he was saying how he was still mad at me. Because, I mean, I did block him for those months. Like, I was just like, I need complete space. Right. But yeah, I invited him to Cabo to come on like a couple's trip. Okay. And so he was kind of like caught off guard, but he was down. I was like, look, I just want to put everything in the past, just have a good time, not worry about anything. And then back in my mind, I was like hoping to get more answers on this trip because I'm like, perfect time, you know?
Did you get any more answers on the trip?
No. If anything, I had more questions after.
Okay, so he's still keeping up this facade that, yes, I went on this show, but nothing came of it. Like it was fake.
Yeah, but in Cabo, we were back to being like our normal selves, right? Like very romantic, very, you know, just like how we used to be. And
Right.
so then we talked about like, okay, what does the future look like when we get home? And so, and another thing is that he said, okay, if I go to Cabo, we need to be like 100% low key. But then he took pictures with me and the group. Like, it was like, what? So.
But like, why would you guys need to be low key? The show wasn't out at that point. No one knew who you
Right.
were. No one knows you, sir. So what was your response to that? Like, how we need to be low key? Why?
I was
back home that you don't want to find out about this.
Well, I wasn't that shocked because I was like, okay, well, the show's supposed to air later this year, so like, I get it, and like, I don't want to mess up his thing. But then on the trip, I asked him like, you know, I said I don't, because he would trying to put things in my head like we're gonna get back together. I want to be with you, and I was like, the only way I would be with you is if I'm the only woman in your life because I'm not playing that. And I said, so can you answer me clearly? Like, am I the only one? And he got really quiet. He didn't give me a straight answer.
He didn't. He skipped around it. How did you get out of that? That's like such a straightforward question.
I don't know. I was just like, I didn't want to press it for whatever reason. I was just like, okay, I can't force information out of this man, but I'm taking a mental note. Like, okay.
Okay. Did he ever explain like how far he went in the show? So you knew he was on the show, but did he ever like tell you how far he went in the show? Like, I got to an altar?
No, not at all.
So you just, at your point, you thought it could have been anything at that point. Like he went into the pods but never connected with somebody, or he went into the pods and, you know, didn't really like him. Because there are people on the show that don't like move to the next level.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what the hell?
I just knew he's allegedly engaged, but then I was like, okay, but like, when does the wedding happen? And I knew like, if they get married, they're going to get married in real life. I knew that's how it worked, you know?
Yeah.
But.
So you're thinking that the weddings hadn't even been filmed yet. You didn't even know they had been filmed yet. You're thinking, oh, he's like engaged to this girl for show purposes, but the wedding hasn't been filmed.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So May, that's your receipts for May. The show aired in what, October, guys, or September?
It was like a few weeks ago. And from May through September, because I know you posted on your story that he kind of sent you an invite to Miami, even as soon as September 20th, right? Yeah. Well, September 28th, he wanted to go September 28th through October 2nd.
Okay. So from May through September, had you guys spoken or hung out or met up or?
Let me tell this 21 Savage sewage that Nas is my favorite rapper, along with Rakim.
Dad, you feel me? And